Hello, 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 hello. It's been, again, quite a while. I know I haven't posted a video in a while. It's just been a mad Christmas holiday break. I'm sure everybody had the similar sort of things going on, running around, meeting people and drinking way too much. I thought today is New Year's Eve. It's probably, well, to me it feels like the last day of the Christmas holidays. So I thought I'm gonna floss the Christmas jumper one last time, keep it festive, and yeah, talk about all the fantastic pickups that I've got in the last month or so, and the various missions to collect more. So yeah, I've managed to obtain quite a few pieces over December. I don't know if you're like me, then you go spend a little bit too much shopping and treating yourself that you tell.
Stop it. Get some help.
That you say to amass more things than you probably should do. But yeah, I've got a huge selection down in the corner that I think we can go through, and I think you guys will find interesting. I've kind of drafted them in some sort of order. I have left the best, in my opinion, to last. So yeah, stick through to the end. So the first one I thought we would talk about is I thought we'd talk about the more modern stuff first. And the first one I thought we'd go through is this new Switch controller that I picked up. I'd seen this a while ago. It's by a company called Nyxi. So there you can see it. So essentially, it looks like a Wavebird, right? In that guise, clearly it's big and chunky like the Wavebird. The middle portion is just like a plastic dock. Sadly, it doesn't have any battery function, but I think on the website it looks like they do one which does have battery function, but it wasn't available. I've docked it into the Switch so you can see it. Essentially, I've got it here right now. If I can set up a decent view, it's meant to be a GameCube. So everybody that played GameCube back in the day, for your OG gamers out there, know that the GameCube control pad, I think the Wavebird was like the first one which popularized wireless controllers. There were some other ones that came out, but this was like the first real big one that went mainstream. And then the gen after, which would have been PS3, they were all Bluetooth out the box. But when this came out, it was PS2 and Xbox, and they didn't have wireless controllers from what I remember. God, this is really dirty. I need to clean this. But essentially, for all the OG boys out there, Super Smash Bros. Melee, yeah, with a GameCube control pad. If you look, this is, I think it's the only controller I remember that did this. It's got the big A button, and then these are like kidney shaped, so it gives a little bit more area. And then the triggers were really nice, and they clicked. So, well, everybody's extremely fond of the GameCube controller, got really good fond memories of it, and a lot of people still think it's the best controller. I think it's one of the best controllers, definitely. So to have that on the Switch, specifically for Smash Brothers, but also for some other games which I'll show you about in a minute, I really wanted a new control pad because I wasn't happy with the Pro or even the N64 one. It's not really useful. So I picked this up. It's from America. I think it's about 45 quid delivered, brand new. The eBay price was like stupid. I'm like, why people try and charge so much on eBay? And yeah, so I'm going to be using this as my day-to-day way of playing the Switch. The game which we're playing at the moment is coming up next, and that is, for Suds and Mez, Diablo 3. I don't know if I've spoken about this before, but for the Switch we wanted like a local co-op kind of game where you could get your friends together and have a bit of a laugh, play a game, and yeah, just go around and do stuff. So I did a bit of research and I saw on the Switch Diablo 3, which I've never played before, is quite popular. It says up to 4 players offline, so we could add a 4th player. So if anybody else wants in, let me know. I've never played any of these before. The boys hadn't played any of these before. It's good so far, but we'll see. People seem to be putting like hours and hours into it. it's a good laugh. But yeah, we've been playing that Diablo 3 on the Switch. So after the last video, which was the CEX lottery, which didn't quite go to plan, I tracked down a hunt of the remaster of Pocky and Rocky 1 on the Switch. It also came out on the PS4. For these kind of games, these like indie kind of niche games, I don't know, I like having them on the Switch. I really want to play it urgently, and CEX were like the most reasonable price to 15 quid. But and there's one that was available nearby to me, so I thought, yeah, I'm just gonna run down there and get it. I can't be bothered paying for shipping or anything, otherwise it's no point. And sadly, the label, the insert, whatever you want to call it, is pretty battered on this. I don't know if you can see the edges look worn, and it's crumpled on the front, which is a shame. It did come with an instruction sheet, which is quite rare for modern games. It's just a one-pager. Got the front and then the buttons on the back. Get focus there. But I thought that's, it's a nice touch. You don't get that often. So yeah, I'm trying to play this at the moment. It's absolutely solid. I'm starting to learn the tactics with power-ups and things. If you haven't played it on the SNES because of the price, or on this generation, I'd highly recommend it because it is really good fun. Again, it's 2-player co-op, so if you and a friend or a partner or a one of your children or whatever wants to have a go, it's a great little fun, cutesy shoot 'em up, and yeah, so far I highly recommend it. Really good fun. Next game is one which again I've been after for quite a while, because I've seen the graphics of it, and I thought, you know, it looks really cool. I had no idea how hard this game was. Mez, you know what I'm talking about. It's Cuphead on the PS4. I think physical copies of this game are a little bit rarer because it's like a typical download game. But if you didn't know, the game is essentially a 2D scrolling shooting game where you run around and you shoot the bad guys and avoid the obstacles and that. However, the art style is quite like 1940s Disney. Steamboat Willie kind of flex. The footage will be overlaid anyway. So graphically it looks really cool. However, it's absolutely solid. Me and Mez, we couldn't get past the first level. Oh man, so yeah, gonna have to practice. I think I'm gonna do I'll do Pocky and Rocky remastered first because of the hype behind that game, but then this one would be one nice little arcade shooter that we should get good at, just to understand how to play it and complete. It looks like it's a good fun, so yeah, glad to add that to the collection as well. Last but not least, the hype around the new one was so much that I thought, should I get the new version? Spunk out 40-50 quid, but then I thought, actually, hang on, TJ, you haven't played the previous versions yet, so what's the point about it? So yeah, I bought Spider-Man for the PS4. I thought, I had a feeling that they did a PS5 version of this, and typically with the other PS5 versions, if you have the original, they give you the upgrade for free. It was like that with The Witcher, with Resident Evil 2 and 3, so I was trying to be cheeky. If I can get this on the cheap, which it was, this is only a tenner, I thought I could have a PS5 game for a tenner, like a AAA PS5 game. Turns out, when you put this in, it asks you for another $5, which, alright, it's not the end of the world. 15 quid for a PS5 game. I mean, everybody's probably seen it or heard of it. The Spider-Man games for the Sony, they are exclusives made by Insomniac. Spider-Man, well, Miles Morales came out as PS5 launch title, and then Spider-Man 2 just came out and everybody's absolutely creaming themselves over it. So this is on the list of games to play, I think, after I finish my current game that I'm playing. Before we go retro, I thought, you know what, I'm going to give you a quick review of what I've been playing current gen within the month of December. It might surprise you, I actually finished some games. Can you believe it? Liar! Don't play enough games really. The first one that I played, I've been saving this ever since it was gifted to me. Well, gifted, that I purchased. And that is Hogwarts Legacy. Miles, if you're watching, shout out to you. An ex-colleague of mine, I purchased this off him way back earlier in the year. And I told him I'm going to play it when it becomes winter because I just didn't feel like playing it during the summertime. And yeah, I saved this until then. And I completed the campaign probably in 27-28 hours. As a Harry Potter fan, I did enjoy like the magical side of it, but they did a good job with all the attention to detail, let's say. It's not set in Harry Potter time, it's set like, I don't know, 80 odd years in the past. So you'll recognise some of the names, but there's no direct link to Harry or Ron or anything like that. But it's really good fun. The combat is excellent. You can do upgrades, so it's like RPG light. You can run around and do various collection things, side quests, go shopping. You know, you can grow your own plants and raise your own animals. And then the actual homeworld map is absolutely huge. You can explore on your broom, which is good fun. You can teleport to save time. Like I said, the combat's a good laugh. You can go around beating up dark wizards and monsters. So I've finished the main campaign, like I said. I've done quite a few of the missions. Obviously I'm nowhere near close to completing it, but I think it's one of those that maybe next year, if I'm ever run out of games to play, I may go back and do a few of the collections just to finish the main story. I think you can keep on going and do like finish the Hogwarts year off or whatever, to finish your owls, and then do a few more of the collection stuff just to finish that off. So yeah, Hogwarts Legacy, highly recommended. The price has come down. I picked this up for like 25 quid, like I said, from Miles earlier this year, whereas I think now it is 25 quid on eBay and CX or whatever. I'd highly recommend it. Well worth playing. Straight after that, after all that cutesy nonsense, I went full horror and I did Dead Space Remake again on the PS5. I played the original on the PS3. I played the first two, I never played the third one, and I remember it being a lot of fun. It's essentially a sci-fi horror version of Resident Evil 4, where you go around, you find ammo, you play the story, you upgrade your guns, explore a little bit more, take out bosses, and yeah, complete the story. It was quite a short game. I think I finished it in 13-15 hours, something like that. It's really hard. It's really hard. Yeah, the monsters and the bad guys that come after you there, it's intense. So if you get scared quite easily playing video games, leave the lights on if you're going to do that, or have somebody else with you to do the harder bits. But it's a ride, definitely is a ride, and I would strongly recommend this to anybody as well of current gen. Like I said, this one came out quite a while ago, and I think this one's come down in price significantly as well. I picked it up for like 20 quid. I got a deal on it, but I think you can probably get it for about a similar sort of price, 20-25 quid. Highly recommend it. It's a nice roller coaster ride. The story is really good, the mystery and the horror side of it with the characters. It is a remake, so obviously if you've played the original, then it'll all be familiar to you, but if you haven't, then yeah, check it out, Dead Space. Alright, let's go retro now. I think that's why we're here. Namesake of the channel, we're not messing around. So the rest of the pickups are closely related somewhat, so let's do this first. I like the 3DS and the DS range of consoles and the games. I don't know if you guys have played them, but the Nintendo always try to do something innovative, right? All their consoles are different and they have some sort of, you know, special feature. In the 3DS, obviously it's got the dual screens of the DS, but then it's got 3D at the top. So I quite like the 3DS. And games for them, obviously it's discontinued. I want to say 2017. It's relatively recently, so it's very rare that you see games for it out in the wild that are in, you know, in new or whatever. So I managed to find these two, which are both Nintendo first party. The first one is a remake. It's Metroid. It's called Samus Returns. Metroid Samus Returns, and it is a remake of Metroid 2 on the Game Boy. Yeah. For those in the know, Metroid Zero Mission on the Game Boy Advance is a super expensive one, and that's a remake of Metroid 1 on the NES. So then this is a remake of Metroid 2. Yeah, that's right. And the developer of this, because they did such a good job, Nintendo gave them the Metroid game on the Switch, Metroid Dread, which everybody raves about. I haven't got Metroid Dread. I thought, you know what, should I really go in order? Play Metroid Zero Mission first, probably. And then do this one and then Metroid Dread. Who knows? And I still haven't played Super Metroid, so I'm just an idiot. And the next one is this Kirby game, which I have played before, Planet Robobot. It's like this 2D scrolling game. It's very cutesy, but the mechanics are really cool. It's a really good looking game. This is surprisingly, and like I said, it's a lot of fun because of the mechanics. Everyone, you know the score with Kirby, right? You suck in your baddies and you get their abilities. It's a really good laugh. So again, this one is Nintendo strip sealed. Both of them are Nintendo strip sealed. So I thought it'd been quite nice just adding them to the DS collection, which is modest, but it's quite nice. I didn't have these games anyway, and they're about 30 quid each. So I was like, yeah, I'll have those. The next game is a vintage pickup. I only bought this because I had it when I first had a Game Boy Advance back in the day. We used to play the SNES version with Suds and Roops all the time. So I bought the Game Boy Advance version thinking, oh, it's going to be a great laugh. But then obviously, 2-player is where it's at with these games. So I didn't enjoy it as much at the time. But Super Street Fighter 2 for the Game Boy Advance, kind of like a remake of the SNES game. Turbo Revival. It's got all the mainline characters in from Street Fighter 2. Everybody, you've all played it, you know what it is. It was only 12 quid off Vinted. Came complete. Box is in relatively okay condition for a cheap Game Boy Advance game. No brainer really. Next pickup was off eBay. Again, I hadn't got this game, shelf filler. It is Top Gear. This is the first one. Complete, but a little bit rough around the edges. So it's not going to win any awards. Nick from Vintage Gamer would turn his nose up at this. But like I said, first shelf filler for a game that I didn't have. Yeah, I thought it's one that I should definitely add to the collection. So I'm glad to add it. And I think it was 12 quid. 12, 15 quid, something like that. Which you should always add if you get the opportunity. So the next one, all these ones are linked, and essentially I've been after this game for quite a while now. And I happen to have a shed load of CEX vouchers, because I traded in an S20, an old phone that I had. I managed to get, funnily enough, more than the market value. So, yeah, thank you CX. So, I had a big 170 odd quid voucher, which I was chilling on, and I was like, what should I spend that on? Obviously, it makes sense to get something good for the collection. And this game that I purchased, I'm gonna leave to the last. Essentially, for some reason, eBay prices are going significantly higher than what CEX were offering it at. So it was one of those ones, and there were a few of them available in the country, which again is quite rare. So they were cheap, and there was multiple options. So one of them showed up in Derby, right? So I was like, ooh, okay, Derby's not too far. It's far, far to make a journey. Just for the game, but it's not that far. And then we were having our works Christmas party in Ashbourne, which isn't too far from Derby. And the works Christmas party was on a Friday night, and I was staying over because you know how they go. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna make a little bit of a trip of it. I'm going to go and visit some of the shops that I've been to, and I think you guys know the score. You've seen the ones that I've been to before, and you know, just do a little bit of a trip. The first stop was at Kirkby Sales and Exchange, which, funny enough, didn't have anything I was after. It was surprising. But from there, I went to the sister shop, which is owned by the father of the girl who owns Kirkby, in Alfreton, and I managed to grab these. I'll tell you, the first one that I saw was Super Mario World on the Game Boy Advance. Again, I didn't have this, which is a bit surprising. Super Mario Advance 2. So it's the second one in there's 3, I think, maybe even 4. There might be 4 Super Mario Advance games. The first one was Super Mario Bros. 2. The second one was Super Mario World. I'm pretty sure Super Mario Bros. 3 is the third one, and then Super Mario World 2 is the fourth one. So I've got one of them now. So obviously I'll have to get the other 3 right. Just have to. It'd be wrong otherwise. So yeah, that was ticketed up for 25 quid for a complete game in good condition. Minor tear on the back. Focus. There it is. Minor tear there, but otherwise fully complete. So yeah, I'm gonna have that. Second game that I saw was box only, and that was Top Gear Overdrive. Box only. Has it got the manual? I think it's got the manual. Yeah, it's definitely got the manual in there. In good condition, box only, and John did me that for a £5. It's a £5 for a box, empty box. That's in good condition, so easy one to complete, I think. Top Gear Overdrive. Nice to have that. The next one, which caught my eye, but I thought I didn't really fancy, it wasn't anything I was after, was Page Master on the Game Boy. I don't know if you guys remember, I picked this up with the SNES a few months ago. So I kind of already had the game. Usually these are like just crappier versions of the SNES games, right? On the Game Boy. Show you on the back. You can see a little bit of the graphics. It's a typical Game Boy game, and you can see that it was labelled up for 35 quid. And I was like, that's a lot for a Game Boy game I don't really want. The box was in really good condition. You can see the tabs and everything are all nice and sharp, and again it's complete. But then I had a look on eBay when I was in the shop, and I was like, it's cheap. So I was like, when you see something like that, it's going for less than what it normally goes for, I couldn't leave it there. And then when I took all 3 to the counter, John's a stern, you know, he's a shrewd operator. But I asked him, what's he going to do me? Come on, John, I've been multiple times. And he goes, you know what, you can have a £5 off, you can have the box only for free. So I'm like, alright, yeah. No complaints there, saved a £5. But yeah, happy to add this to the collection, and then yeah, I need to get the other Super Mario Advance games, which is quite nice. From there, I drove to a shop that I saw Gemma do a video on, because she went there to buy a SNES, but I saw in the background that he had a NES Deluxe set, right? And I thought, I'm gonna go and have a look at this because I wanted one, but I knew they're really expensive. So I thought, you know what, if the price is good and the condition is good, I may pull the trigger on it. So, quick video of the shop. So hopefully you guys saw that you step through, and it's a really nice outfit that they've got going on. There's a cafe up front where you can chill, have a nice cup of coffee, which obviously I did, and then you walk through, and then there's quite a nice open space where they've got the displays, and it all looks really good. The other game which caught my eye was the Battletoads, and I was negotiating. Unfortunately, the owner of the retro stuff wasn't there. It was his partner, and it's one of those ones. I want it, but at the same time, it's a lot of money. And the price that I suggested was $350 for Battletoads and the deluxe. Battletoads is probably easily worth more than 50 quid. So which meant I was getting the deluxe set for 300 quid, which is a reasonable price. Yeah, it's a reasonable price. But there's like so much money. More money for stuff that I don't really need, I don't have the space for. So I don't know, in a few months time, if I haven't purchased anything for a while, anything big, then I might go back. Yeah, so Hina Emporium, well worth checking out. Good toys, good displays, a lot of good games, and yeah, you can get a coffee in there at the same time. So yeah, have a look. I may be back in the future. Okay, so next I went to the CEX to pick up this game, which I'm going to show you about in a bit. But before then, or immediately after that, there are a couple of other shops in Derby which do retro stuff, and they're like around the corner from each other. It's quite interesting. Videos are the first one now. Hopefully you guys saw. I mean, it's a really nice shop. Everything's laid out really well, and it's priced up. That always helps. You know exactly where you stand. There's no messing around. Loads of retro stuff in there. Like I said, it's around the corner from the CEX, smack bang in the city centre. You can't really miss it. Again, just sadly, nothing that really caught my eye, unfortunately, which is a shame. I would have liked to have picked something up, given it was Christmas. It's funny, when I was there, I saw the Grinch. Show the photo. So the Grinch showed up. That was pretty cool. But around the corner from there is another retro game shop, of which the footage is here. yeah, what do you guys think of that place? Solid Snake in the corner. I mean, that's an awesome figure, right? In there, I was tempted to grab Castlevania on the N64, but essentially the price of it was pretty much the going flat rate on eBay or CX or whatever. Nothing. I'm not going to go out of my way to spend that sort of money on the fly. But the first one that I grabbed, essentially, and the good thing about this, she had 2 copies of this game, and for the price of the cheaper one, we mixed and matched and put together like a complete better version, and that is International Superstar Soccer, which again is shell filler, but for 15 quid. A really good condition, complete copy. I've got the deluxe, but I don't have the basic version. That was really nice. But the one that I really wanted when I went in there is this boxed SNES control pad, which, I mean, hopefully you can see it just there on the video. It is super clean. Look at all of the edges, the front. Do you know what I mean? Mint gets chucked around quite a lot. There's a little bit of damage there, but this is as close to mint as you're gonna get. It's definitely excellent condition. It doesn't have any inserts, but the control pad obviously is in there, all nice. So she was like, "This is £45." I said, "You gonna do a discount off that?" She said, "No." She goes, "It's come in quite recently. It's absolutely pristine. It looks fantastic on display." I mean, I agree with that, right? It looks fantastic on display, and this will be an easy sell for him. I couldn't leave that there. No. Right, 45 quid plus 15, so 60 quid I dropped there as well, which is pretty much the same amount that I dropped in Alfreton. So didn't spend a lot of money on this little day trip of mine, but really glad to add this. I think it's a fantastic purchase for the game collection. Last but not least, the piece de resistance. As they say, the whole purpose of the entire journey was to pick this game up from CX. Now, if the condition was battered but it was complete, I probably would have left it. Ideally, obviously, you want it to be in very good condition, complete. Do you know what I mean? If it's mint, then they'd sell it as mint, and that's a lot more. So excellent condition, you're likely to get as well. But the problem with CX is a lot of people, especially with the rarer games, they know that the manuals are worth something. That's why, like my Pocky and Rocky 2 came without the manual. I wouldn't be surprised if the person sold the manual on eBay or something separately, because it's worth so much, and CX will give the same regardless. But anyway, when I went in there, I was hoping that this would be excellent, because essentially my entire trip was for this game. And yeah, I wasn't disappointed really. A bit more backstory. I've been trying to complete the Konami SNES set. So you guys know all about the silver box collection. I've got most of them. I've got the complete silver box selection. I've got a lot of the other Konami games. The Konami games, you'll notice they always got these bright colorings, and then they've got the Konami logo there in the corner. So they're quite distinct, and they all look fantastic on display, I think. Retro Ghetto, damn you, you set me off on these collection missions. And yeah, this is a big one that I think was missing from the collection. It's boxed up. So you can see, obviously, at first glance, this looks excellent, right? At least it has got sellotape there and on the other side, but as from a previous video of mine, you would have seen that I'm not too put off by that now. I think, do you know what I mean, with a little bit of care and patience, you can get the sellotape off, and do you know what I mean, in most instances, you never know that it was really there. So perfectly fine with a lack of sellotape. On the back, sadly, it looks like somebody taped something up and that's come off, which is a real shame, because that ruins the exterior of the game. But from the front, it's no problem. Sadly, there's no manual. A CX, they ask for 130 for this. I think the eBay going price for this is way higher. So to get it in this condition, missing the manual, which I reckon maybe 20 odd quid's worth. I think it was worth it. Well, at the time when I was there, looking at it and knowing how much I wanted it, and with the fact that I had the voucher in my pocket, it's difficult to resist. You have to be a man of discipline to turn that one down, and I couldn't. So I capitulated, and I pulled the trigger. Hopefully you guys have, well, the footage you'll be playing, the music for this I think is really good, and the game itself is real blast to play. I've played it on the DS, on the 3DS, and it's an awesome fun side-scrolling action shooter platformer. Great game, and great one in the Konami collection. So while we're talking about Konami games, the ones that are missing are Biker Mice on Mars, cha-ching. Missing the Pop and Twinbee Rainbow Bell Adventures, cha-ching. And then we're missing the heavy hitter that is Adventures of Batman and Robin, cha-ching. And then if the stupidly expensive, the ridiculously priced Castlevania X, Dracula X, which, well, price will be in here, you'll see. It's way out of my price range of that. Unless by some miracle I can get one at a fraction of the price, I don't think I'll be completing the Konami set, but I'm definitely shooting to get the other three, and then this will be nice to add. So what's coming up on the channel? So I finished Resident Evil 4 VR. I didn't talk about that earlier, and I figured out a way of doing some video game capture of that in VR. So I'll do a nice little short demonstration and review of Resident Evil 4. I've been promising that since March. Better late than never. I'm interviewing Get Retro soon, right, for a special feature. So Get Retro, if you're still listening,
You son of a bitch!
Screw you, but I'll be seeing you soon. And then the game room is going to get a little bit of an overhaul very shortly. I'm finishing off something with my nephew shortly, and then after that I'm going to do a big update inside here, and that will constitute a nice little vlog, I think. So that will be coming up to the video, up to the channel even soon. So yeah, a lot to look forward to in 2024. This will be the final video of the year. It's been an interesting one, especially for the collecting. I think yeah, the YouTube channel has definitely spurred me on to probably spend a bit more money than I would have done otherwise, which, you know, is a good or bad thing, I don't know. Done a lot of collecting, played a lot of good games, been to a lot of good shops, and yeah, generally had a very good time. If you're still listening, thanks for staying till the end. I appreciate it. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the new year. Have a good one.